Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to make beaded snakes with the fun googly eye on top. Now this is a very fun and easy craft that you can do at home with very little materials. You can design it however you would like. It can also be however long you would like, and it's quick and easy. So let's get right into it. The first thing that I want to talk a little bit about are some of the materials that are going to be used inside of this video. So the first thing that we're going to be using are pipe cleaners. Here you can see that I have an assortment of pipe cleaners. However, I'll only need one. It is possible that you may need two depending on how long you would want yours to be. However, for the purposes of this video, I'll only be using one. The next thing that you're going to need is a pair of safety scissors. Now, before I go into safety scissors, I would love to just make a quick plug about how we use safety scissors. So what you'll notice is that I'll take my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand, and I'll use it to grab the bottom of the scissors as not to cut myself. You can see that every time that I grab the safety scissors, I'm picking them up by the sharper end so that I don't hurt myself or hurt anybody else while I'm using them. If I'm ever going to use the safety scissors, I would simply use my dominant hand, which is my right hand, to grab the scissors just like this. The small space should be where you put your thumb, while the larger space will be able to hold your other two fingers to help you cut. Once you're ready to start cutting, you'll slowly remove your non-dominant hand from the scissors and you will slide them off just like this. Here you can see that my scissors are down, they're pointed away from anyone and anything else, and they're safe for me to use. I'll go over this again once I begin to use the scissors in my video. Notice how I'm gently putting them down on the table and making sure that I'm keeping my hands away from them when I'm not using them. The next thing that we'll be using are an assortment of beads, and I'll jump right down to the last item here, googly eyes, which are optional. You can see that I have both of them here on my plate. I have an assortment of beads that are different colors, different sizes, and different shapes. Typically, any bead will fit on a pipe cleaner. So any kind of bead that you have should be able to fit, because if you look really closely, you can see that the lining on the inside is very thin, making it easy to fit through almost any bead that you have. The next, which is very optional, is our googly eyes. So here you can see I have different shapes and color eyes. I'll only be using one for this video, but you can feel free to use as many as you would like. The last and final thing that we are going to be using for this video are, it's basically glue. So for this particular activity, I would recommend using a liquid glue. For these purposes, I have my liquid glue here, and I'll only need to use it once throughout the video, and that will be to stick on my googly eyes. If you're using dry glue, that might be a little bit more difficult to use to stick on the eye, which is why it's optional. You do not have to do the googly eye at the end. However, if you like to, feel free to follow along. Now what I'm going to do is push all of my materials off to the side so that I can begin working on our project here, which is a fun googly-eyed snake. Now, I'm going to move it a little bit closer so that you can sort of see what's going on here. I have my googly eye here at the front, and then you can see that my snake consists of different beads that are different shapes, different colors, and different sizes. You'll also notice here that at the end I left a little bit of space for the tail, and I was able to curve it a little so that the beads could secure themselves in place. I will also walk you through that process as well. So let's get right into it. So what I'm doing now is just moving my materials out of the way so that I can begin. And the first things that we're going to be using are the scissors and the pipe cleaner. So I recommend getting a parent or guardian to help you with the safety scissors if you don't feel comfortable using them on your own. I strongly recommend that if you're younger or if you need more assistance, that you reach out to someone to help you use them. Otherwise, feel free to follow me as I walk you through the safety guidelines of using safety scissors. Before I grab my scissors, I'm going to choose a color pipe cleaner that I'd like to use for my snake. For my example here, as you can see from the end of the tail, I used a light blue. So I think that this time around I'm going to use a pink pipe cleaner. Now don't worry if your pipe cleaner isn't straight, or don't worry if it has any kind of dent in it, because what you'll notice from my example here is that we end up curving the snake once we are done with it anyway. So don't worry about that at all. The first thing that I'm going to do is take my pipe cleaner like this, and I'm sort of going to get a feel for the length that I have here. So this is a lot longer than the one that I used for my example, so I'm going to give it a little trim, which is where my safety scissors come in. I think I'm going to make mine a little more than half this length. So half would be right here in the middle where both of my hands are. I'm going to move a little bit further down to the end here. And the longer the snake is, the more beads I'll be able to put on it. And not only will I be able to put on more beads, but I'll be able to do some fun curves when it gets time for me to bend my snake into whatever position I wish to have it. Now that I know where I'm going to do my cut here, I'm going to put my pipe cleaner down, paying attention to the spot that I wish to cut. And I'm just going to make a dent here. Pipe cleaners are super easy to move. So this is where I'm going to make my cut. I'm going to show you how to pick up the scissors to make sure that we're being safe. So I remember to put my hand that I don't use as much, or my non-dominant hand, right down here. I'm going to pick up the scissors just like this. I'm making sure that I'm keeping them very low. The next thing that I'm going to do is take my dominant hand, which is also the hand that I write with, and I'm going to grab them just like this, while keeping the scissors low, away from my face and away from other people. I am going to take my hand off of the bottom. Notice how I'm keeping my scissors low, and I'm going to cut right inside of this corner here where I made my mark. I'm keeping my finger away from the space where I'm getting ready to cut, and I'm going to go right ahead. It may take you a couple of tries, but once I'm done, I'm putting down the pipe cleaner that I just cut off. I'm putting that down, and I'm using my non-dominant hand to hold on to the safety scissors and put them away, because now I'm finished using them. The next thing that I'm going to do is take the pipe cleaner that I have here, and I'm going to get ready to use my beads. So like I was showing you before, I have a ton of different beads here that I'm going to be using. And I'm not putting them on in any particular order. However, if you like patterns, if you like for your snake to look a specific way, please feel free to do it however you choose. Right now I'm just using the beads. And the first thing that I'm going to do is take my pipe cleaner here, and over on the end, I am going to fold it just up like this. And this will help my beads from sliding once I get ready to put them on. And now we can begin our beading process. And as I'm putting on my beads, I'm going to walk you all through how I pull them all the way down to the end so that they don't fall off or they're not trying to move around as I'm putting other beads on. I'm taking my time, I'm being super careful, and I would also like to make a note that pipe cleaners are a little sharp at the ends, so be very careful when you're moving around or when your hands are moving around with the beads and you're putting them on the pipe cleaner. But notice how I have different beads here at the end. They're not sliding off because I have this little space that's protecting them from moving around. And it makes it a lot easier and a lot more fun for me to put my beads on. Putting beads on pipe cleaners is not only therapeutic, but it's also a lot of fun. And as I'm going, I'm also paying attention to some of the colors that I have on my plate. I'm looking at some of the different shapes of my beads, which you'll notice look all different. So right now, I think I'm going to use a couple of blue beads because I'm feeling the color blue today. And I'm going to go for different shades of blue. So right here I have a dark blue one. But before the dark blue, I was using light blue beads. So you can really just customize it however you like. Now I'm going to switch to white beads. And I have these fun shaped beads here that I'm putting on. And as you're putting on your beads, you can begin to think about what kind of shape you would like to mold your snake into. I believe for mine, I used just a simple zigzag line here. But I think that moving forward, I will probably do another fun, different design, especially since this one is going to be slightly longer than the one that I used for my example. But notice how I'm switching up the pattern of my beads. It's not all the same. They're still hanging on here because I'm not touching this end piece unless it's to secure the beads and make sure they're still hanging on. Doing activities like this is a really fun time to reflect on how your day has been going, or how you're feeling, or what kind of mood you're in. It's a good time to start thinking about some goals that you would like to achieve, or anything that you're looking forward to over the next couple of days, or even in the next couple of hours if you're doing this a little bit earlier in the day. If you're doing it with a relative or a friend, it's a good time to talk about anything that's been on your mind or something that you're looking forward to. And I'm just going to update you all a little. This is what it's looking like now, and you could see I did switch up my bead look a little bit, which I'm super excited about because that means it's going to be very fun and very, very interesting to look at. I love using different colors. Right now I'm looking at a lot of pink, and before I was looking at a ton of blue. And you can see here that my last couple of beads have been pink. So get super creative with this. Use different colors. If you want to use all the same color, that's fine too. Try different shades. Experiment a little bit with your snake because it's all yours. And I'm getting toward the end here, and I only have a little bit of space left. So I'm going to add a couple more beads. I'm going to continue to put my beads on here. And you want to leave just about, I want to say 4 to 5 inches at the end here, just so that you can make the head for the snake. I know that for this one, it doesn't look like there's much of a head, which is why on this one, I want to make sure that I make it big enough so that we can put multiple googly eyes on if we feel like it. So we have our tail, we have the snake's body here, which is made up of lots of different colors and lots of different beads, which is always fun. The next thing we're going to do is we're carefully going to begin to wrap our pipe cleaner in a circular motion up at the top. Watch your finger because, like I was saying before, pipe cleaners can be a little bit sharp at the ends. So you're going to take it and you're gently going to begin folding it just like this. Notice how I'm taking it and it's forming sort of like a little head here. And then once I wrap it around like once or twice, I'll show you here. And all I've done is wrap it, fold it a couple of times. After I get it to this point, all I'm going to do is pick the head up just like this. And this is where I will insert my googly eye. Now, before I go on and do that, I'm going to curve my snake how I would like for it to look. Now, if you're okay with the snake being nice and straight like this, by all means, you do not have to do this next part. However, I think that this is the most fun part of the whole thing. So notice how, like I was saying before, it's very easy for us to bend the pipe cleaner, so you don't have to move it around a lot to get the mold that it is that you want to get. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking it and I'm making very small dents or very small curves in the snake's body to sort of give it a real life snake feel. And it's always easy for you to go back if you need to and adjust the curvage if you would like. And here you'll see that we have a nice fun couple of curves. And we also have our space here at the head where we will now get ready to put the googly eye. So here I have a couple of different colors and shapes, but I think for this one I'm going to take this really fun one here. And if you can see, it has eyelashes on it, which makes it super fun. However, if you do not have googly eyes, that is okay. You can substitute it for other things. So say, for example, if you don't have a googly eye, but you would like for your snake to have an eye, you can try to glue on a bead. And beads may work similarly. It may take a little longer for them to stick. However, I'm sure it'll work. Now I'm placing my snake here, and I'm taking my googly eye. I'm just moving my materials out of the way so that you all can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to put my googly eye down right next to it. I'm going to pick up my liquid glue here. Notice how careful I'm being. Notice how neat and clean I am with doing this. I'm going to take my thumb and put it right behind the head of the snake here. You can't see my thumb because it's sort of being covered by the snake's head. But I'm going to take a little bit of glue, just a little bit. I'm squeezing it nice and slow. And you can see it starting to come out. I'm paying attention to where I'm placing it. And I'm putting it somewhere in the middle. I'm putting a good amount on there so that it can hold. I'm making sure that my googly eye is positioned the way that I want it to be. And I'm sticking it right on here. Now the most important thing once you're done is to make sure that you're not touching it too much. Give it time to dry. I would say 10 minutes is pretty safe just to secure it. If by some chance you do pick it up and the googly eye does fall off, maybe you need to use a little bit more glue, but you shouldn't need to use too much. But this is my ending product. This is my snake, and this was the original one that I had done as my example. And you can see that they look totally different. This one is shorter. This one is slightly longer, and not only that, but the head is a little bit bigger, which is very fun to see. So they look completely different, but yet you can see that they kind of have their own personalities. If you have any other spin that you would like to put on it using different beads, maybe you like to incorporate some kind of string that you want to wrap around it, feel free to do that. But I did these using only 5 materials, and once again, those materials were the pipe cleaner, the pair of safety scissors, which I showed you all how to use, an assortment of beads, glue, preferably liquid glue because it sticks a little bit better, and last but not least, which is optional, googly eyes. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you enjoy this, and I can't wait to have you all explore these. They're really fun to use. Have a nice day.